Welcome, Ravens. You're listening to Raven's Ramblings, and I'm your host, Morrigan Raven. And I'm back with the wonderful MissJigglePuff, again, doing yet another podcast, and you might actually hear her voice coming up on a few over the next few months. So, Jiggle, how you doing?
I'm alright. I sound a bit funny because what have I got?
Sinusitis, love.
Yeah.
You just can't say it.
I say sinus.
So she's a little bit quiet. I do apologise. I'll try not to be too loud.
No, I'll still be loud. It just sound funny.
So what are we talking about today? We're going to continue on from your body positivity. I can't talk today now. Your body positivity podcast that you did with me.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, and this is, by the way, episode 8, I think, mental happiness.
Yes.
So we touched upon, and I don't want to go into it too deeply, but we touched upon some of the things that you've been coping with.
Yeah.
So how are you doing generally?
I've been doing some trauma therapy. I've got my last one next week. It's been eye-opening. You don't really talk about the trauma. It's a group thing. First of all, you don't really touch on the trauma itself.
Yeah.
So it's giving you coping strategies, which is always handled.
So a bit like anger management classes rather than an AA meeting.
Oh, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's nice. You talk to other women and you kind of go around that. So it's quite nice. It's eye-opening as hell.
So is it an all-woman group?
All women, yeah. It's for survivors in transition. And you just kind of it was hard at first, but then so my mental health has been in waves at the moment, and then I've just been very run down, hence getting ill. But generally, I'm feeling coming out the other end of it now. So
good.
This is the perfect time to talk about mental happiness.
Certainly is, and we're coming up into that C word that I don't like very much. I do. I love Christmas, just not in November. So this podcast, I believe, is going out at the end of January, so Christmas will have been and gone. But I wanted to just kind of touch on it about how, coping over Christmas with family and that kind of thing as well. So I hope that you've all had a good Christmas. I hope you've had a good New Year. And yeah, so I like Christmas. I believe the magic has gone out of Christmas for me. It's too commercialised now.
Yeah.
I don't want to be thinking about Christmas before the kids have gone back to school in September. And I feel certainly whether this was a Auntie Felicity's visit problem, that people just wanted to the shops are open, let's put out all the stuff now when people will buy it to encourage people to come out. But I feel that it was everything Halloween went up in July. And by the end of August, before the kids' back to school stuff was out, the Christmas stuff was in the shops.
Yeah.
And it just feels like it's not special anymore.
Yeah, I just feel like, let us have October, which is my favourite time, Samhain, let's get it in there. And I love, Halloween. And it's like almost by the time, trying to get Halloween stuff, by the time, your payday comes around, you're getting excited about getting your Halloween stuff out. It's almost kicked out of the shops before Christmas stuff is in there. And Christmas for me is a very hard time of the year. New Year's as well. I know that's the same for many people. Not just because of, a lot of people are triggered. There's a lot of deaths around this time of year. Sorry to be morbid. But, it's a remembrance time of year generally. I just think it's a time of year people reflect, time
Definitely.
People, we think about our lives. It's a very, a thoughtful process time of the year. So you've got that on your shoulders already, and then you're told you've got to be happy. It's a happy time of year. Why are you not happy?
You've got to see the family.
You've got to see the family. You've got to do this. You've got to buy presents. You've got to wear this. You've got to do that. You've got to sing carols. You've got to eat this. And, the eating I'm happy about.
Oh, yeah, I can do the eating bit.
I'm happy.
It's just the rest of it I've got a problem
I'm happy the chocolates come out. It's the only bit. But the things I like about Christmas is, I like seeing my immediate family, because we don't really do the big, you've got to see all the family.
Yeah.
I just really see my mum and my sister. I have the last few years cut down my shopping list massively. And I also have started making presents, because I hate the commercialism of it. I like to try and make it personal, and I am a great gift buyer.
And that brings back some of the magic. I mean, I remember... December being, I don't want to say a teenager, but I had my own money. I was working,
and
I could go to after dance class and like spend an hour wandering around Bath or wherever I was at the time, and just look at the Christmas stuff, and I would get that real, almost like movie feeling. Everything's Christmassy.
I love when the Christmas lights go on in town.
When it's dark by 3:30, and it's all that's my kind of thing. I mean, I'm looking out the window now. It's 4:05, and it's really dark, and that's when I love it. I love that dark, dusky place. But I do find that they kind of throw this commercially at us, and we're forced to buy it so early that we get bored of it. So by the time Christmas comes around, you're either so bored of Christmas that the magic's gone, or the kids are overhyped because they've been seeing all these things that they want, or you're then going into the new year worrying about the debt you've put yourself in. And I did actually see your post this morning that you put up about, don't go into debt, don't see family that, cause you mental health issues. And I kind of love that concept, because I've actually said to my family this year, I'm not spending a load of money. No. I've bought you things through the summer when it was really hot. I found an amazing, like, not air conditioning unit, but this little chiller unit. And I bought one for my immediate family, going, well, you've got a conservatory, you can enjoy it now with this. And of course, I come from a family where if they want something, they buy it. So they're not into like knickknacks. Unless they specifically ask for something, then they're not going to get it. It's really difficult. Sorry, we had a cat interruption there. But it's one of those things that I feel that people put a lot of pressure on themselves. I feel there's a lot of pressure for people to go to Christmas parties that they don't want to go to. I'm not a big party person. If there's a social event at work, I'm like, no, because I don't want to be put into a situation where, yes, they're people I work with and I get on with them and I like them all. There isn't really a person at work I could turn around and go, I really don't like that person. I get on with pretty much everybody I work with. I work in a really small company. We all get along. We all have a laugh. Yes, we have our stressful points. We work together, but we all get on. But I don't want to be with those people all week and then be shoved into a what I term a forced social situation, especially being in the alternative community where all the wives and partners turned up. And I remember, so our company's a little bit untraditional. So we don't have a Christmas party. We have a gathering of anyone that wants to go. And then what they do is they then pay in the summer for a big venue, and we go and we have they pay for the hotels to stay over, and we have a big meal. And I've been to one, and it was really obvious that the goth couple had turned up. Now, we know the Griffin's a rocker, not a goth, but it was that I felt so out of place. It doesn't matter how many people said I looked amazing, how many people said. I had one person who was a partner of somebody who was not even a permanent member of staff, giving me just daggers all night. And it's like, why? Just because I'm different to you, this is where I'm comfortable. And the fact that I can walk in 6-inch heels is none of your concern. But I just felt, I was in tears by the end of it, and I went home. So I tend not to go to them, because although the childish bullying isn't in my life anymore, okay, I will walk down the street and go, you're fat, you're a twat. I as I've said before, my weight is no one's concern unless I'm sat on your face. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I will get kids shout things at me, and I just ignore them or tell them that is like the best they could come up with their school education. You know, but going into something where it's adults, it's the snidey stares, it's the little backwards glances, the slight nudges that you notice, and it's just like, just grow up. Not everybody wants to wear pretty floral dresses and sequin tops for Christmas. Some of us want to wear black velvet, and that's where I'm comfortable. So I mean, I do find Christmas a strain, but like I said, you don't see more than like immediate family. I don't even have a big family. It's just my parents and mother half at Christmas. So we don't have a big family like that anymore. But there are people out there that are going to be forced into big
they do.
Big
there's
family
a lot of people that have to travel. I mean, last year I was in Italy, and I did find it a strain, but not in a particularly awful way. It's just because I am used to just it being my mum and my sister. you know, my partner's Italian and he has a bigger immediate family. He has 2 younger brothers. And then he has his nonna and his nonno who come down from upstairs, and then his mum and his dad. And then we went and see his other family. It's very family orientated, which I really enjoyed because the Italian culture is beautiful.
Yeah.
But it, you know, for me, coming from being a miserable British Grinch,
And I think that's the thing, because I remember going out to France, school exchange program,
yeah,
and I was invited to a first communion. Now the couple I stayed with and their daughter were very Catholic, as it is out in France.
Yeah, same with Italy.
And I think it wasn't even an immediate family member. I think it was a second cousin 18 times removed. But my God, there must have been 60 or 70 of us in this restaurant. They took over the whole thing. We had a 15-course luncheon.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. There was 15 courses, and every time I looked around, there was more food, and I'm like looking at it, going, I just can't.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until one of the older ladies who spoke English came over and went, "Don't feel obligated to eat everything. You know, just have what you want. That's you. You just pick.
Yeah.
You just pick. It's our culture." And then, no kidding, we'd not finished the 15 courses, and there was a session where the blokes all went out for their port and cigars. And about an hour later, they came back and it's like, right, tea time, we're going to have another 19 course. And I'm like, Jesus, how? But the atmosphere was so relaxed.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, like I said, I was there on a school exchange. So I knew nobody except the family. The father didn't speak any English other than hello. That was all he ever said, was hello and munchies. That was all he knew.
Yeah.
So it was like, I understood that was hi, and do you want anything to eat?
Yeah.
The mother had basic English, but she didn't have conversational English. So she could ask if I was okay, was the bed okay, did I? But it wasn't like, you know, what are you doing this next weekend or stuff like that. And then the daughter, at the time, I didn't get on with brilliantly.
Yeah.
But her English was okay, so she was explaining what was going on.
Yeah.
The mass was actually great because it was all done in Latin.
Yeah.
And being from that kind of background myself, I understood Latin, so it was all fine. So I was okay with that, which I think they were impressed with.
Yeah.
But the actual family situation, I felt there was no pressure.
Yeah.
If you're sat there and I didn't talk to anybody, it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
But then if I found someone to talk to and I spent an hour talking to them, it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
There was no, well, you can't talk to that person, or there was none of this that I find in the British culture of, well, we've just remember when we get there that we've not spoken to Auntie Flo for 13 months because she once said at a party. There's none of that.
Yeah.
It's just all, everybody get in a room. If A and B don't like each other, they just won't communicate.
Yeah,
But I didn't find that tension in the room.
Yeah, that's what I find as well. Is there's lots of different things with culture, and I do think with British we've lost the sense of community and just even family. Like, you know, you just get on with it. Your family, you
can almost see where they come up with the British are uptight, and I think it's because in that culture, when they do have problems, they talk about it. So whereas if we have a family feud, our mental health goes implode, can't deal with this, shutting myself off from the world. Over there, they go, do you know what? You annoyed me. We're going to have this out, and then we're going to hug it out, and then we're going to get on with our day and feel great about each other. And we might be a little bit, standoffish for a while, but in a couple of months, we'll be absolutely fine as if it never happened.
All I find is some places is the other way. They don't talk about it. They just accept it's happened and they just move on.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you know what? Let's just, fine, we're not going to forgive each other, but we need to forget it because it's life. We get on with it.
But how do you think that would affect your mental health? I mean, I know I've had things happen to me in my life that I've put massive concrete blocks on them, and I step on those blocks and boy, do I run from them. How do you think that would affect some of the stuff that if you took that approach with it, do you think you'd be in a better place?
I tend to, I used to get walked over a lot. So, and doing trauma therapy, I definitely learned from that I do get taken advantage of a lot more than I realised. So I think the key to that is sometimes you need to talk about it. Sometimes it's not to the person that's done it. Sometimes you need therapy, talk of therapy. Sometimes you need to deal with it yourself. Sometimes you do need to confront that person. And especially when it's family, if they've been putting you down, or, you know, sometimes you didn't feel support during your childhood and stuff like that. Sometimes you do need to kind of have a chat and say, look, a lot of these problems, I feel like maybe this might not have happened if I felt more support at home, or this, that, and the other. And sometimes you just go through life and you do the concrete thing, like, okay, that happened, but I can't change it now. I need to accept that I dealt with it that way, and actually, that's who I am and the way I am for a reason, and move on with it. I think a lot of people say what I call stagnant. And I think the problem with saying stagnant is that you rot from the inside out. And actually, you can still grow. Even if you feel like you're in that stagnant, what I call stagnant state of mind, where, you know, you have the black hole and it just keeps growing, or every now and then a tear comes and it, you know, it opens back up. Sometimes you can seal it. You know, you can still put a seed of hope in there and it will grow. You have to work on yourself though. You're never going to get mental wellness if you're not willing to work on yourself.
Now, I went through a situation when I was younger. I've got a sibling. I'm obviously not going to go into what it was, but something happened. It came out. My parents kind of didn't, I won't say didn't believe what I had to say. I don't think they wanted to hear it at the time. And we're talking many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It came up in conversation. And I just went stony quiet about it. And my mum kind of realised that it hit a sore point. And I didn't want it to get into that point where I wanted to have it out.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to say my piece. And luckily it was over the phone. It wasn't face to face. I think if it had been face to face, I never would have said anything.
Yeah, of course.
But it came up over the phone and I was kind of like, you know what? Well, at the time, I got really hurt by that because you didn't hear what I was saying.
Yeah.
And I felt like because I was the younger sibling, you didn't believe anything that was coming out of my mouth. And the things I could tell you of what I've been told directly by the person involved, and the things that have come out, and it was all to do with a certain situation. It wasn't exactly what happened, but it was a situation that linked into what I'd been talking about. And at the time, I was grounded, I was shouted at, I was, you know, it almost got into a physical altercation between me and one of my parents. It was a really bad situation.
Yeah.
And I shut down from that.
Yeah.
And I think from that point,
because they lost your trust.
I was about 15 at this point.
Yeah.
And I think, do you know what? If I'm 15 years old and you don't want to listen to what I'm telling you that is going on, which is potentially dangerous in my sibling's life, then you don't care.
Yeah.
And if you don't care, I'm not telling you anything. And I shut myself off. And I think that's why now I don't have that close relationship.
Yeah.
So, you know, come Mother's Day and Father's Day, where you're seeing all these posts on, oh, my mum's my best friend. And I'm sitting there going, I can't remember the last time mine phoned me. You know what I mean? It's that kind of awkwardness that you want to say it, but you don't bring it up.
Yeah.
And like I say, if it hadn't have come up about 5 or 6 years ago, that this conversation came up, and I said, well, you know, if you'd listened to me at the time, I could have told you exactly what happened with that situation. And it all just came out, and they went, we never really listened to you. Tell us now. I actually got apologised to for the way I was treated.
And how has that affected your relationship now?
We're still not close, but I do feel now more that they listen when I talk. It's not just a
do you think
interaction conversation. We actually talk.
A lot of older people find it so hard to learn from their mistakes. So that is one thing you should probably give them.
Yeah.
Because I know many people who, you know, their parents, grandparents have never learned. So it's a good thing. That's growth there.
Yeah. And then, like I say, although it's just been the once, I still feel like it may have taken, you know, nearly 30 years, but, well, 25 at the time, but, you know, I got some form of, vindication's not the right word, but, you know, where I'm getting at. It's that kind of acceptance of, actually, well, maybe now you'll listen. And maybe you could have done something about it to prevent X happening.
And it also gives you that justification that actually you were right, and that any self-doubt that you had probably lessened.
Yeah, and I wasn't some stupid teenager. Actually, I was quite sensible for my age.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's probably why the next 2-3 years I caused hell at home, because I caused all sorts of problems, because it was like, well, no one's listening anyway, so what's the point?
And it's all to do with trust with parents. If a parent breaks a child's trust, you think, why should I trust you if you don't trust me?
Yeah.
Because I had exactly the same at home.
And that's why when it comes around to things like the festive thing where you have to see people and you have to sit in a room with them, I don't have a thing to say.
Yeah, there's nothing more that traumatic than feeling the pressure of having to be around people that you don't have the trust with, or this, that, and the other. Sometimes just spending an hour with them and just saying, look, we have our own plans today, that's enough.
Well, that was going to be my next question, actually.
Yeah.
For you know, we're talking mental happiness and keeping ourselves happy around this festive time. And I know by the time this podcast goes up, it's gone past it, but maybe this is something to think about for next year.
New Year's is really important too. Resolutions. New Year's resolutions.
But how do you get rid of the toxicity? And I don't just mean throw it in the bin, forget about it and talk it out. I'm talking about, how do you get them to leave? So I find that sometimes I will get visitors, family, whatever, and I'm sitting there after 2 hours going, will you just go? I'm done. I'm bored. I just can't cope with it, because I'm a person who likes my own company and I like my partner's company. But if I didn't see anybody for a fortnight, I'm not bothered. And if I didn't talk to anybody, I mean, I've had a couple of weeks off work and I'm like, do you know what? Apart from one night out with a work colleague and a tattoo appointment and coming here, I've not seen anybody. And do you know what? I've really loved it.
Yeah.
I've spent the day binge watching Netflix with the cats.
Yeah.
And I've spent the day doing that little job that needed to get done. And I felt so much more relaxed because I'm not having to gear myself up to talk to people all day. But how do you get that? How do you get them to leave?
Well, I think the reason why you've enjoyed it is also because you are so busy, you're doing so much, is because you're giving yourself some self-care there. That's very important. And self-care, people think self-care is having a bath, giving yourself a bit of time to yourself, but it isn't. It is also taking care of your mind. It's also allowing yourself to say, actually, yeah, if you want to come around, you can, but setting it up beforehand. There's nothing wrong with saying, if you want to come around and visit, you can, but I'm only free for an hour. You don't have to give them a reason.
I hate people who just drop in.
So if someone's just dropped in and say, oh, that's fine, but I've got to go out in an hour, you don't have to give them a reason why. The problem with us British people is we and anyone, doesn't just have to be British.
Keep the stiff upper lip, darling. Yeah. Just grin and bear it. It'll be over soon.
Yeah, we over-explain everything. And I'm the worst for it. I'm like, no, it's fine, you can stay. And then I end up, and then I'm exhausted. And that's what's happened to me now. I've got this problem, and then I've got other problems going on with my body. I get body pain, and I'm run down on my antibiotics now. All just from,
and you got work and everything else.
Yes, and do you know what I mean? And on top of my mental health not being good. So the thing is, now I just have to say, do you know what, actually, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Or actually, yeah, I'm free, but only for an hour because I've then got work later. Or actually, I'm not free after work because I'm so exhausted now. I just want to get home, have dinner, and go to bed. But that is the hardest thing for me to do because I am a people pleaser.
Mm.
When you have a traumatic childhood like I've had, some of the stuff in my childhood and bits and pieces and my incident last year, I just want to make people happy because it makes me happy to make people happy. And
I get that. And I know a lot of people that have had trauma in their life and they're just like, well, I have to have these people round because they're family, but actually it's toxic.
Yeah, and it's not always, like, I don't think of, like, there is certain people that are toxic, but also sometimes for me, it just drains me to have people round when I'm always the strong one.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't want to be the strong one today. I just need to be miserable. And sometimes it's okay to be miserable. So, and especially at Christmas. But when you that is that pressure of like, you've got to open your presents, have Christmas dinner, and you've got to be happy about it. But sometimes you can't wear that mask. So sometimes it's just like, okay, I'm going to come around for dinner. I can come for an hour. But then we've got plans later. And it might just be you and your partner going home, sitting on the sofa, falling asleep. That's perfect self-care. Just going to have a snuggle on the sofa with the kitties. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah, perfect.
So what are the little things we can do in general, not just in we've gone into a new year. It could be the end of January by this goes up. So we've done New Year and we've done Christmas and we can plan for this year. But we got things like Mothering Sunday, Easter, all the family barbecues that people tend to have.
Yeah.
Certainly, I mean, I know from my side of things, it's a bit different being in the alternative community. I'm in a situation where I can't express myself as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
But I still try to keep some elements of myself in my outfits. But what can we do to kind of like, keep our sense of self around people that we don't necessarily want to be around or want to see or have those difficult relationships with? Because I feel certainly in myself, to keep myself in a good headspace, I need to be me.
Yeah, of course. And I don't think anyone should dress down or dress any differently or be any different if you're you. I mean, I've always, that's one thing with me. Ever since I was a child, I've always been called eccentric or weird or, whatever. And because my mum used to hate me wearing flowery clothes. And because I would, back in, being born late 80s, being a 90s child, flowery clothes were
you make me feel so old.
No. And, my mum would like me wearing girly clothes, but I would choose, instead of being like a girly, maybe flowery dress, I would choose like the brightest floral jumpsuit. And she'd just be like, oh my God. And then, it was, and then I'd wear maybe green shoes because
nice.
I just don't, I don't think I have the. Okay, so I studied fashion at uni for 2 years. I dropped out. But for me, fashion is a state of mind.
It's a personal expression.
It's expression. It's not, and then the thing about when you look at catwalk fashion and you look at it and you think, you couldn't wear that down the street. I think, yeah, you could.
Why
you
not?
Want to wear it? Wear it.
If someone's my thing on fashion is if somebody's made it,
yeah,
and they've made it in your size, you can wear it.
Exactly.
If you want to go grocery shopping in a ball gown, get on with it.
And don't even. That is exactly my point, Raven, because I have had. I'm now on my 4th wedding dress. I've never been married. I'm 34 years old, but I've had 4 wedding dresses from charity shops or secondhand. Because I love wedding dresses. I always wanted to be a wedding dress designer. And I've had them for Halloween. My latest one is
photo shoots.
So my latest one was just photo shoots, which I did. And I always just knew I would have more than one wedding dress in my life. And so
now you've got plenty of choice.
Now I have. But I just think, for me, I am alternative, obviously. I don't like to put labels on people. I think, it could be goth, you could either be all the different variations of goth. There's so many variations.
Oh, that drives me mad. I'm just goth.
Yeah.
I can't cope with the variation.
But then, if you want to wear pink or have like purple in your hair or, it doesn't make you any less goth if you decide to put a bit of colour in your outfit. Do you know?
I've had that all my life. I remember having it's funny enough, I was talking to somebody about it yesterday. I was saying I had a meeting at work about 15, 16 years ago. And I was known as the one, even now I'm known as the one that wears black in the office all the time. I'm the office goth. This token thing. And I was asked by my boss very politely, the client that's coming in that's seeing you, they're very conservative. The guy himself is very, very conservative. Could you try to look a little less goth? And I went, got no issue with that. I'll take whatever piercings out, whatever. I want no problem with it. It's my job. I'm representing you. So I had a dark plum men's shirt and a grey suit that I'd had for years. Kind of blazer, were really expensive Marks and Spencer's one from back in the day when they were really good quality.
Yeah.
And a long kind of mid-length skirt. And I paired it with grey paint and leather heels that I had.
Yeah.
And somebody walked into the office and went, I thought you were told to dress less goth. And I went, I'm in grey and purple. What less do you want? He went, you still look like a goth. I'm like, come on, give me a break. I'm trying.
I mean, that sounds absolutely rad, to be honest. That sounds sick, but that's what I mean. I mean, you look at all the different shades, you know, greys, purples.
You mean light black?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. But, you know, you've got all these different labels for people now, and it really pisses me off. And I mean, you've got, you know, I understand for genders and sexuality and stuff like that, but then you've got people trying to do it with what people wear.
But why do you have to put a subculture into a subculture that already exists?
Yeah.
So
just let people
even in goth, you've got
wear.
new goth. I mean, yes, okay, I do. This is going to sound contradictory. I get the pastel goth,
of course, because that's
kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Not that I get pastel goth at all, because to me, goth is black.
Yeah.
Goth is not baby pink and lavender. It just doesn't compute in my head.
I do live for it though, because I love goth stuff and I love black.
I don't have a problem with it. I just don't. My brain doesn't associate it with goth.
Black, but I love colour.
So yeah, I mean, but then you've got. I mean, I have been told I'm more of the Victoriana goth. Well, that's fine, but I'm not like that all the time.
No, you're not. Exactly.
My aesthetic when I go out bases that. When you're doing photo shoots is more that. And I would love to be able to do like that all day. But I've got my corporate goth stuff, and I've got, you know, I don't fit into one mould.
No, but nobody does.
And I'm sick of this. I'm a new goth. I'm this. I'm that. No, just goth. Alternative.
Yeah.
That's it. End of conversation. But do you find, because like obviously we're talking like less fashionable mental health in this one, do you find with your eclectic style that you get people's assumptions about your mental health? And I'll tell you why I ask this, because I get, and have had all my life, oh, you must be really depressed wearing all that black all the time. No, it's my happy comfort zone.
Yeah.
I'm ecstatic. You take me out of black.
It's like the meme though, isn't it? Black is my happy colour.
Yeah.
I love that. But that is always just the assumption though that goths are sad.
Do you get that you're the crazy cat lady because you wear eccentric clothes and have 3 cats? You know what I mean?
I do get the crazy cat lady, but that is
cuckoo.
also because I'm bipolar and I have 3 cats. But I do get when I go out in any of my outfits, in my daily outfits, not so much night, because when I go out, I'm more kind of, I like my rockabilly kind of dresses, even if they are black. I kind of go for the more alternative rockabilly look. And I used to get that all the time when I was younger, in my 20s. Oh, you're rockabilly. I'm not rockabilly. I love the rockabilly. I love Johnny Cash. I love all of that. And
can't be a bit of good Johnny Cash and Kenny Rogers. What are you on about? Dolly Parton. Bring it on.
Oh God, I love Dolly. But I can't afford to do the rockabilly lifestyle all the time. It's bloody expensive.
Very expensive.
And it's a lot of effort. I don't brush my hair most days. And it's just like, I idolise any woman who does the rockabilly and lives the rockabilly lifestyle. I mean, that's a lot of effort.
I know a couple, and it is an awful lot of effort.
I'm an effortless kind of girl.
Even the hair alone is an effort, let alone the makeup.
I'm too damn lazy, mate. I'm a leggings and a jumper girl unless I'm going out. So, but yeah, so when I do go out and I'm wearing, like, you know, a pair of Vans that have got a pattern on it, and then say even my tartan trousers, or, you know, joggers or leggings, and then I'm wearing a dress that's a completely different pattern, and then a jacket that's a different pattern, and then I've got like bright green and orange eyeshadow, or purple and green or whatever, and then a different colour lipstick. Then for some reason people do kind of like, and then if I do happen to talk mental health with people, or if I meet new people, they're just like, you're bipolar, but you're so happy. They just seem I'm a happy colour.
And there is this thing with mental health that everyone who's got mental health issues is constantly in a state of depression.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
It's not the case.
It just means we are battling demons.
Yeah.
We are having a good day.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean to say that the other 364 days of the year we're this good, but this particular moment we're okay.
And sometimes when I'm really, really low, I like to put lots of colour on because sometimes that's what's getting me out the door. But then sometimes when I'm also really low, if I'm particularly struggling with suicidal thoughts and I'm like, I can't make eye contact with anyone right now, I don't wear my glasses because I can't see very well without. And I also will wear black, and I'll possibly wear my hood up or sunglasses, even if it is raining or whatever, because it all depends on my mood. But sometimes I wear my happy colours because I'm like, I'll be bright and shiny. And if that means sometimes I get people comment on my appearance because, and they'll be like, oh, I love your outfit. Or, oh, you're so colourful. That looks great. And that makes their day. That
compliment helps you as well.
And I am one of those people. I'm quite lucky that when I go places, I do get people to ask for my picture if I'm like in Camden and stuff. Because of my eccentricity.
I'm getting a T-shirt for Camden that says I'm not an effing tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick to death of, can we take your photo? No.
You should do it. It makes people's day.
I hate having my photo taken.
But then also, I get a lot of older women come up to me like, I wish I was brave enough to look like you when I was younger. I want to dye my hair, what to do this. But
my answer to that is do it now.
Yeah, I always say do it. They're like, I wish I could go and get tattoos. Go do it, woman. Go do it.
You can.
My favourite though is when I had it a couple of weeks ago in M&S, and I literally just shoved on. I had the most random outfit on. I can't even remember what it was now. And then I had half my hair still blonde, because obviously I've changed my hair recently.
Yeah.
And then
it looks very nice, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. And this little boy with his dad, two little boys with their dad in M&S, and then it was just around Halloween. Actually, I just come back from Italy, and he went, "Wow, Dad, she looks amazing." And then literally every aisle I went down, they happened to come the other way, and he just kept going, "Oh, look."
And that in itself makes you feel better.
It does. I love when kids look positively.
Yeah.
Because some parents are like, don't stare, don't look. Because they act like you're bad. You look bad.
And I'm not getting into this conversation, but kids learn from their parents.
They
and
do.
If the parents are going to make comments and things, then the kids will make comments.
Yeah.
But if the kids accept it, then,
I remember once I was also walking back from Music in the Park that we have here, and I had quite a showy dress that had shoe. The top of my back was a halter dress, a big flowy summer dress, and my tattoos all out of my arms. And I heard a little girl behind me. I had a headphone in, but an empty ear, like I always do when I walk through town. And I heard the little girl saying to her mum, "Why does she have all of those drawings on her skin?" And then she went, "I don't know. Why don't you go and ask her?" And then she did. She come up beside me and she said, "Excuse me, why do you have all those drawings on your skin?" And I said, "Because I really like art, so I wanted to become a piece." And she was like, "Wow." And then her mum said, "What did she say?" And then she told her, she went, "That's a really good answer, isn't it?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then she could just hear her having this conversation with her mum. And I was like, that's a really good answer to say, why don't you go and ask her? Because I was only walking a little bit ahead of her. And I was just like, that's adorable. And she was really happy with my answer. This little girl, so her eyes light up. And I was like, I love art. I just wanted to become a piece of art. And she was like, oh.
I went to Camden not too long ago, and I had a back sleeveless dress on, and this chap actually stopped me in a pub and said, "I can't leave without telling you how amazing the artwork is on your arm."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was kind of taken aback because a lot of the time I get, "Oh, she's got fat arms and she's got tattoos on." It's like, yeah, I've just got more space to be inked. It's fine.
Yes, that's exactly
my answer is, if they're big, I've just got more place to put tattoos.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Oh, we've been staring at your tattoos. Really sorry if we made you uncomfortable. I hadn't even noticed them. I was drunk."
Yeah.
And it's like, your artwork's just amazing. It's really, really good quality. And I went, "Yeah, well, it costs a bomb to get this good."
Yeah.
But that kind of compliment makes me feel good. But going back to the fashion thing, I actually did a challenge for my 40th birthday, where I was going to accomplish 40 things before my 40th birthday, and one of them was, every month for a year, I had to wear one day a month no black, excluding underwear.
Okay.
So, which was good because I don't have anything but black underwear. So it was like I went out and I bought like blue jeans, and a few people said to me I had to make it like obvious that I was doing it. So I did it at times when I knew I was going to be around people. So we go to British wrestling shows. I went to a British wrestling show, and I had people coming up to me going, "You're not you. You don't. You feel really like closed off, and almost cold." I went, "It's because I'm not comfortable. I don't feel like me. I'm stood here in a maroon t-shirt and blue jeans, and I feel so flipping awkward. It's like I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
But put me in a pair of stompy boots and a black dress and a black baggy jumper and stomp through Camden like a gothic rag doll. I don't care. I feel great."
Yeah.
But it's always that assumption that I'm depressed constantly.
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, you'd look better if you smiled." I have a face that doesn't naturally smile.
It's got resting bitch face. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I do. My mouth naturally curls down at the
Yeah.
side, so I don't. My smile's really awkward.
Yeah.
If I smile, a lot of people like smiling teeth, and I'm like, I'm kind of gurning because I don't naturally do it. It actually hurts my face.
Yeah.
Because my mouth tips down so much. But I do find there's this thing of, well, if you always wear black, you're going to be depressed because black's such a depressing colour. And I'm like, but it's not. It's
black
not.
is an iconic colour. Have they never heard of the little black dress?
Chanel,
Case and
Gucci,
point. Case and point.
I mean, Audrey Hepburn in
Yeah.
Breakfast at Tiffany's,
Yeah.
iconic thing,
Yeah.
eating a donut, tiara on her head, wearing the little black dress.
Yeah.
You tell me what woman doesn't feel amazing in a black dress?
No.
And then tell me I'm
favourite.
depressed because I wear black.
Yeah.
Go and do one.
Yeah.
No.
For me, it's leopard print and a little black dress.
I can see that about you. Bit of Bette Lynch. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, before we lose track of time too much, what are your... just one last question for you. All your body positivity stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've just done a photo shoot which has made me feel massively empowered and feminine.
Yes.
I cannot wait to do another one. I'm so excited for the photos. They'll probably be out by this point that this comes out. But yeah, I cannot wait to see those photos. I feel so badass. But do you find that has helped with your mental happiness rather than, I'm not going to use the term mental health, but do you think it's boosted you a little bit into a more positive area?
A lot, because I went for a stage where I hadn't done, excuse me,
you're allowed to yawn, it's fine.
Hadn't done any shoots for a while, and then I did a bunch, and I really struggled for a little bit. But I did a photo shoot with Tattoo Portraits, Jackie Cooper. She's Tattoo Portraits on Instagram, and definitely check her out. She's doing a Christmas promotion at the moment, and if you want to be empowered, god damn, this woman, the shoots I got from her, I swear I'd never worked with a photographer like her.
Yeah.
And I did one with, she was one of the first people I went back to do one with, when my partner went back to Italy, and I was feeling really low self-esteem. My mental health was all over the place, and I went there and I was wearing my collective snowflake starry dress, and it's very bodycon, like iconic little black dress but long to the floor maxi.
Yeah, I've
kind
seen
of
it.
fishtail dress. It's so stunning, and I bought it, never worn it. I've had it for about 3 years, and I nearly chucked it, and it was like, I'm going to sell it. Just put it on somewhere for a tenner or something. Kept it, and honestly, wore it for that shoot. I was just like, I found myself again after that, and I think doing body positivity and realising, that you need to give your body a break sometimes, in your, body positivity can help you regain strength in your mind, for sure.
It's helped me. I mean, I'm not as far into my journey as you are, but accepting that this is my body shape, and whether I lose weight or gain weight, I'm still the same shape.
Yeah,
I've kind of accepted it, and doing that shoot yesterday has just made me feel so good that today I just don't care. I feel amazing. I'm like walking on cloud 9. So yeah, it's good to hear that the body positivity can help.
Yeah.
So just before we close off, is there anything else that you'd like to just
Can I
give anybody as
just
a
read
tip?
my last little poem?
Certainly, but she's got a poem she's going to read, so go on then.
This
Go
is one of my creative writings that I've. It's not really a poem; it's creative writing. But I've got a couple that I'm going to read on a few of your podcasts. You're going to be the first people. I did some on my Insta Live that I did with Tatty Portraits the other night. But you'll be the first guys to hear me properly read them out loud. And I've got quite a few fans of my writing. But I'm not very good at reading out loud, so this one's called "The Struggle Is Real, but Time Will Heal."
Okay.
And it's about mental happiness. I thought this one would be perfect. Okay. Struggling, not recognizing myself, not empathetic to myself or my story, my worth or my self-esteem. I'm sinking, but I'll never let myself reach the bottom again. I've got possible dreams. They are just hidden by this fog, hazy, bogged down by the depression darkness with what looks like rays of light shimmering beams of hope. Soon I'll catch one of these. I'll climb out of the pit, up, 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 and I'll see my reflection and say, there you are, I recognise you, it's me.
That's lovely.
Yeah, that's that one.
That's really cool. So, we're going to call it a day.
Yep.
And thank you for listening. Thank you, MissJigglePuff, for coming and joining me again.
Thank you so much.
You will be hearing her voice on a few more podcasts this year because I quite enjoy doing podcasts with you.
Yeah,
They're really
it's
easy.
fun, yeah.
So I'm hoping to do some more with some other people. But yeah, I hope that the new year has started well for you. If you have had a down period, you'll get through it. Find people around you that make you feel good.
Yeah.
Wear things that make you feel good. Don't be constrained by what everyone else says that you should be doing. Do what's right for you. And if that's a day in bed watching Netflix cuddled up to the dog, then do that. If it's having a bath and going out with the girls, then do that. But do whatever makes you feel good. And, keep your mental health in check. Even if you're not somebody who has any form of mental health disorder, we can all get overworked. I don't particularly struggle with mental health issues. I have certain things that I do cope with. But keep mindful of yourself, and even if you don't suffer with any kind of diagnosed condition, just know you can still get overworked, overtired, overpush yourself and put too much pressure on yourself. But we're going to do some more of these throughout the year. I'm sure we'll touch upon this subject again at some point. But as always, we love you and we hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye.